And joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line from NBC Sports Philadelphia, a man that has one of the best avatars in all of Twitter, as far as I'm concerned. You can catch him on Eagle Eye Podcast, all things NBC Sports Philly, including this latest article, which you can access right here via the old Twitter verse as well. Our friend Dave Zangaro. What's up, Dave?
What's up, man? You know what's funny? So I had that's been I have to find a new profile photo.
No, absolutely not.
Well, I need another good one. So the one before that was me interviewing Jordan Mailata, which was really funny. I think it was John McMullen took that photo. It was Jordan's his rookie year, and it's just hilarious because I'm looking up, like feet up in the air. So that was a good one. I need another good one.
Yeah. That's great. No, my favorite thing is when Jordan Mailata picked you up, put you in his breast pocket, and then went to see a movie. That was my favorite part.
Good.
First off, I know you're a man of many adventures. And before we talk anything football, what has been your latest adventure? Were you to Sri Lanka? Did you go to Tibet? You spend like 7 years there?
No.
What's going on?
I don't have anything major planned. In February, I got away a little bit, went to California. Went to like Joshua Tree in Death Valley. That was fun.
Oh wow! Okay.
And then in later this summer, I'm going out to Washington State. I have a buddy who lives out there, so we're gonna go romping around, some camping, some hiking, maybe some backpacking. It'll be fun.
Very nice. That is awesome, man. Good for you, and I hope you get a chance to enjoy it. Sorry that I got to talk football now, but OTAs, all that fun stuff. I'm seeing all this stuff from Jalen Hurts. We'll get to the press conference. I want to start with what matters most, and that is Jalen Hurts' accuracy, Jalen Hurts' mechanics. We all know he's got a great work ethic. He's certainly worked his butt off this entire offseason. What have you seen from him to give you a little bit more confidence maybe into what he could do in the upcoming season?
Sure. I mean, we have to preface it by saying they only had 6 OTA practices. We were able to watch 2 of them. So we're talking about it's a very limited sample size. What I will say is the 2 days we saw some pretty good signs. Last week, the day we watched, he was very accurate, very, very accurate. And then today, or I should say Wednesday, he did some deep balls. It was he hit back-to-back deep balls. One was the John Hightower, one was the Quez Watkins. But really the most impressive throw to me, there was one where, like, in a real game, it would have been dead probably, but he rolled to his right. There was cover. It would have been a cover sack. There's like nothing open. He rolls to his right, buys some time, which, hey, in a real game, he might have the shot to do.
Mm-hmm.
And he throws across his body to Greg Ward, 25 yards on a rope, and hit him. And that's a tough throw to make, and he made it. And there's so much talk about him and the arm strength. Like, is he strong enough? I think he's strong enough. He's not like he's not Josh Allen, but you don't need to be Josh Allen. You don't need to have an arm like that. You just have to have an effective arm. And I think his arm is good enough. I do. It's just some of the issues we've seen on deep balls in his career. To me, it's a timing issue more than it is a deep ball issue. It's the ball has to be out. And really, that's the next step in his career. And we can't really see too much of that in OTAs. I think what we saw was good. The footwork looks good. The release looks fine. But the next step in his career is, and I've said this about him for a while, he needs to throw with anticipation a little bit better. And there's a difference in accuracy. Sometimes the completion percentage doesn't really tell you the whole story about accuracy because, and this is just an example, right? A guy's running a slant and you hit him, but he has to slow down and catch the ball, and it's still a completed pass, and it still counts toward your completion numbers. But really, the spot for that ball is ahead of him. You lead him or you throw him open, and then he gets some yards after the catch. And we need to see Jalen hit those throws more consistently. And I think he would admit that too. You can't, it's not good enough to throw to an open receiver in the NFL if you're going to be a franchise quarterback. You have to be able to throw guys open. You have to be able to have that anticipation and release the football and have some trust in your receivers. And we'll see if he gets there because we know he's working hard. No one's questioning that. And that's kind of the answer from everyone when you talk about Jalen Hurts. It's like, we know he's going to get better because he's going to put the work in. And I believe that. The question is, where's the ceiling? You know, what's that work going to yield? And we don't know the answer to that yet.
Well, as we know, the weapons are supposed to be around him in the upcoming season. And to use a tired cliche, you know, if they stay healthy, they'll have plenty of weapons around. I need to credit you something here with Dave. Somehow, magically, while I was on vacation, sitting outside enjoying a espresso in the fine town of Paris, France. You may have heard of it. And I'm watching an Eagles press conference of Jordan Davis. My wife wanted to go shopping and do a thing. I let her go. But she walked away. I was like, let me just watch this real quick. She said, sure. So I'm watching it, and everyone's asking Jordan Davis about food and cannolis, apparently. And he's like, oh, I had a great cannoli. I couldn't remember Dante and Luigi. He's talking about the food. He's talking about cannoli. He's talking about crushing barbecue. He's talking about all this stuff. And cheesesteaks and all that stuff. And then you jump in and be like, perfect segue, because I knew somebody was going to say it. And when I heard you in the next question, I go, here it comes. And you go, so about keeping your weight down, Jordan. It was so perfectly timed, and Jordan had fun with it as well. Everyone was laughing. It was great. But he does look slimmer. He does look a little bit more like a force to be reckoned with as opposed to a just huge human being.
Yeah, first off, we're already getting a pretty good sense of his personality to the point where I felt comfortable making that joke to a man who could crumble me up in a ball and throw me in the trash can. So, he seems like a fun guy. I think Philly fans are really gonna like him. You know, he's kind of a jolly giant, and he's gonna be fun in that respect. He needs to watch his weight in the NFL. He was 345 when he got to rookie mini camp, and he said he wants to get down into the 330s. And it's not just about like cutting weight. It's about doing it the right way and kind of transforming his body a little bit. He could get away with being what he was in college, but at this level, to maximize his potential, he really has to get with Ted Rath, the director of sports performance, and all the trainers, the nutritionists, and really figure out a plan that works for him. And because there were some, as good as a player as he was in college, there were some signs that he would get worn down in some pretty big moments. And you can't have that. And one of the parts of his answer that I really appreciated was that, you know, he basically said, I'm a pro now. I'm getting paid to do this. This is my job. And I think that's a huge distinction. And look, I know playing in the SEC and playing for Georgia is about as close as you can get to still like being in college, but also like, all right, football is your job. Mm-hmm. But it was like he had to go to class, you know, and he has other responsibilities, whereas he's literally getting paid to be in shape now. So I think that's a big difference. And the fact that he's kind of embraced it bodes pretty well for him, because I think they have to find that sweet spot for him where he's got to be massive because that's what he is. But it's about finding that perfect blend of just being this monster, but also being slender enough and agile enough to really let that elite athleticism shine through. So they're playing with that. And I don't even think like the plan might change. You know what I mean? Like I think they're going to want to see how he moves. They're like, all right, let's get him down to 335 with this body composition. What's it look like? How's he playing? Is this the best to maximize it? And they like right now they think they know what it is, but it could change, and that's fine because he's still such a young guy. But it was very encouraging to hear how serious he, after the jokes were over, how serious he was to actually care about it. Because I think that's, look, for every player it matters, but for a guy that big and that position, it matters even more.
Sure. I don't mind so much. He's crushing some cannoli here in June.
Yeah, we get a lot of cannoli. Yeah,
exactly. Now this defense. I mean, we'll talk a lot about Jalen Hurts and all that stuff, but this defense could be going over a huge makeover, roster wise, personnel wise. It's already happened. Schematically, could we be talking about the 3-4 defense? Is that pretty much the way it's going to be? What do you expect to see from that scheme from Jonathan Gannon going into year 2 with him calling defensive plays?
Yeah, I think a lot of the personnel they brought in kind of hints toward more 3-4, but they're still going to run 4-3 and they're going to have different fronts. And it's really what he's wanted to do since he got here. He wants to be. It's such a buzzword now, but he wants to be multiple.
Right.
He really does. It's not like coach speak from him. He looks at that Rams team under Brandon Staley, and when Brandon Staley was still before they won Super Bowl, but Brandon Staley got a head coaching job based on what he did with the Rams and how they were really able to kind of game plan week to week based on their opponents. And that's what the Eagles want to do. They're still going to run 3-4. They're going to run 4-3. I think the signs are pointing toward more 3-4 than we saw last year. Last year, it was really more of a change of pace for them. It wasn't like you could tell they were still in that transition period. And I don't think it's going to be like all 3-4. I've heard some people wonder and maybe worry about that. They're still going to be in 4-man fronts too, but they're going to have the ability to switch back and forth. And a lot of these players are pretty versatile. Like you look at even Fletcher Cox. I mean, he can play multiple positions on that line, and really every player can. I mean, Jordan Davis obviously isn't going to play much at the end spot. He's not going to be a 5 technique very often, but here and there they can do it. They have Josh Sweat and Derek Barnett, who are defensive ends, but they can play as a stand-up rusher. Today in practice, we saw Derek Barnett drop into coverage because those overhang players are going to need to do that on occasion. And Hassan Reddick, the presence of him, last year in that Sam spot, they had Jannard Avery. You're not going to do the same things with Jannard Avery that you're going to do with Hassan Reddick. It just changes the complexion of the defense. From a talent standpoint, think about who they brought in. I mean, Hassan Reddick, Kazir White, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, James Bradbury. Those 5 players can completely change what they do defensively.
It really is insane. It makes me look, I'm with a lot of people in this city where offense is fun and it's flashy, but like when you get to the nitty-gritty, you just want to know that you have a hard-nosed defense, whatever. And seeing the makeover that this defense has had is just like, it does make me giddy. It does make me just have I can't wait. I can't wait for September, mainly because of what you're going to be seeing from the defense. And I think the main reason for that is that there's going to be frustration surrounding Jalen Hurts. Everything he does. Like you were just talking about 2 practices you got to watch, and we're all going to be breaking it down and under scrutiny continuously. But everything he does, it's going to be under a very similar limelight that it was last year and microscope that it was last year, which was, okay, are you Mr. Right or are you Mr. Right now? Are you going to be good enough to be the franchise guy, or are the Eagles going to use their upcoming draft picks, which last year was 3, this year is 2? Well, at least that's how the season was. Are you going to be good enough to make this franchise ignore the idea of drafting a quarterback in the first round? That's going to take so much scrutiny and a lot of energy out of all of us. But the defense is like, hey, guys, just bring it together. There's, be a top 10 defense again, at least in the upcoming season, and we'll all feel better about the following year.
Yeah, and it should be fun. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't be better. And, I think Jonathan Gannon last year, and look, I didn't love a lot of what he did. I thought that some of his game plans weren't great. I thought he was too passive at times, but there's this idea from a lot of fans that I see that he's just not a good coach. And that seems crazy to me. I mean, there were moments last year that were frustrating. Absolutely. But he's a pretty good coach. I mean, there's a reason 3 teams interviewed him to be a head coach.
It's amazing.
This offseason. And now let's really get a chance to judge him, because he has the players. And look, if they're not a better defense, then by all means, he deserves blame, right? Like, sure. But now the blame feels fair. Last year, what was he working with?
Right. Sure.
He had one elite player in Darius Slay, and then he had some good players. Javon Hargrave was good. Sweat was good. He lost Brandon Graham. I mean, this year, the talent level is just higher on that side of the football. So it's kind of like offense and defense. You can, let's really judge Jonathan Gannon now that he has talent. And on offense, let's really judge Jalen Hurts, because now he has a lot of talent.
Exactly. I think those are the guys that are under the most pressure going into this upcoming season. 2 more things for it. One quick one here in 10 to 20 seconds or less. I know you always like to find that guy who is the under-the-radar guy. You love to do a story on him. You love to follow his career. Perfect example you gave me years ago was Jason Peters. Oh, you look at Jason Peters, undrafted guy who was playing tight end that became a Hall of Fame tackle or left tackle in the offensive line all the time. Is there a guy that you're watching right now that has sparked your interest early? Who are you watching right now at OTAs, Dave Zangaro?
One of them is a fun player, Britton Covey from Utah. He's a weird. He's 25. So he's older, but he had like Mormon missions. So a lot of the Mormons, when they end up in the NFL, they're a little older because they've gone on these mission trips. So
Chad Lewis would be an example, I believe, with the Eagles.
I believe so. Yeah. So sometimes they're just older. So he's a 25-year-old guy. He's tiny. I mean, he's a few pounds heavier than the kicker. I mean, he's a tiny little guy, but he was an electric return man in college. And I don't know if he's going to make the roster, but the idea of having an improvement at the return spots is intriguing to me. And he might just be too small. Maybe it won't work. But if we're looking right now for like candidates to be that training camp hero, he's one of them. I think he could wow some people.
Okay, that's one of them. Now I have to ask you a pop culture question because everyone's talking about this movie Hustle with Adam Sandler. I know you have been scouring OTAs and all that stuff. Have you gotten a chance to see it yet?
I haven't. I want to.
Oh, okay. I'm going to show you.
It's on my list.
I'm going to show you one clip because it's just a great movie. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the movie. And Adam Sandler can turn that guy into a basketball player. I mean, he could turn so many people into all-stars, my friend. It's really incredible. I hope you see the rest of it.
Can Adam Sandler didn't turn that guy into a basketball. Adam Sandler found a blue chipper on a mini hoop.
For those on the podcast that didn't see that, I yet again got Dave with his own video of dunking on a mini hoop in his home office.
I'll tell you what.
Yes.
I came on and I knew I was like, he's going to play that clip. And then I got excited thinking about the new movie because I do want to see it. And then you tricked me.
I tricked you. I got you. Dave Zangaro. It's such a selfish joke, but it's the definition of a selfish joke. It's just for me. Guys, make sure you guys are listening to our other friend, Ruben Frank, and our current friend, Dave Zangaro, on the Eagle Eye podcast and all things NBC Sports Philadelphia Eagles related. Go see what Dave has to say, including his latest article, once again, on NBC Sports Philadelphia right now about OTAs and all the observations from our good friend, Dave Zangaro. Dave, always great catching up with you. I'm sure we'll talk to you as the season approaches. Best of luck covering all the rest of this Eagles roster and offseason.
Thanks, pal.
Absolutely. Dave Zangaro joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. You're awesome.